Hey folks, welcome back to Smokey and Giraffe's Variety Show. Today we are making Giraffe's Blueberry Lemony Low-Carb Pound Cake. Of course, we were kind of craving something a little sweet today. We had extra blueberries from the sale at Albertsons, and we thought we'd make our blueberry pound cake. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take half of a block of cream cheese, 4 ounces, and half a stick of butter, and we're going to melt it in the microwave for about 45 seconds to a minute just to soften it so it's easier to work with. All right, so after about a minute or so, 45 seconds to a minute, look how soft the cream cheese has become, and of course our butter has melted. So we'll just kind of break that apart so there's no clumps when we mix everything else together. Okay, that should do well about now. Okay, so we have 4 eggs that we have beaten. We'll add the 4 eggs to our dish. We also have 2 teaspoons of lemon extract. Our recipe actually calls for a teaspoon of lemon juice and a teaspoon of lemon extract, but we don't have any lemon juice. So you know what, lemon extract will suffice. It'll just give it a richer lemony flavor. So we'll mix those up, all of our liquids. This takes obviously about 5 seconds, literally. And then from there we also have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, half a cup of a sweetener of your choice. We use pretty much a baking generic Splenda. And our main ingredient is Carb Quick. It has 2 grams of carbs actually net carbs. It's our go-to for flour. It's kind of like Bisquick, but it's Carb Quick. So we have, let's see, 1 1/4 cups of that. And we are going to go ahead and mix that into our wet ingredients. Ooh, I can smell the lemony right there. The lemon flavor, or lemon scent actually. So we'll go ahead and mix that together until that's completely stirred and mixed together. Alrighty, it only took us about 30 seconds or so, but it is just a rough mix. Everything looks blended together. You'll notice a few little areas of cream cheese that has not mixed well, but once it gets to the oven, it'll melt. So we're going to transfer this to our little 6 by 6 inches baking dish that we sprayed with cooking Pam, or generic Safeway Pam. Alright, so it doesn't look like much in our pan, but with the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, it should rise accordingly. And last but not least, we're going to place about a cup or so of our fresh blueberries into our mixture. We don't want to mix it together at the very beginning with everything else because sometimes they won't be evenly distributed. So you'll find out when you're finished with the pound cake, most will be at the bottom or on one side. So we just place it like this, so each piece will have some blueberry in it. And we have our oven on 300 degrees for about 30 minutes to 45. So we're going to place this in our oven for about 35 minutes. Of course, we're also baking a low-carb cheesecake right now. There was a sale on strawberries as well. So instead of throwing away what we didn't eat, we thought let's make a little low-carb cheesecake. The recipe, which is in our cookbook, but we'll show you how to make it a little bit later. So we're going to be gentle when we open this so our cheesecake does not fall. And we're going to place this into our oven right next to it. Alrighty. There we go, and there's our cheesecake is cooking as well. Okay, so we have this in for the next 35 to 45 minutes. Well, while the cake is busy baking, let's go ahead and start to make our frosting for it. So we're going to take the other half of the block of cream cheese and the other half of the stick of butter, and we'll place that into our microwave for the same 45 seconds to a minute, just so that when it melts, it's easier to work with. So here we are again. It has softened perfectly. So we'll go ahead and mix this a little bit before adding our other ingredients. There aren't that many ingredients to add. All right, so that didn't take too long. Okay, so again, we're going to add another 1 teaspoon, actually 2 teaspoons of lemon extract. Again, it calls for 1 teaspoon of lemon extract, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, but we don't have the lemon juice. So it'll just putting in 2 extracts will give an even deeper, delicious taste. All right, and then last but not least, our secret ingredient is our Swerve sugar replacement or sweetener. I like to use the Swerve for the frosting because it's even sweeter than our regular sweetener, but it has 0 grams or 0 net grams of carbs. All right, so we'll go ahead and add that. It's 3 heaping tablespoons. And go ahead and mix that together. And then we'll place it into the fridge for just maybe about 5 or 10 minutes so it can solidify a little bit. And then by the time our cake is out of the oven, which is going to be in another, 16 minutes, we'll go ahead and spread this over once it cools. All right, so our recipe calls for 35 minutes on 350. We have it on 300 because we want it to cook a little bit longer. It seems that when it cooks longer, it cooks more evenly and is more moist. So we'll do our little test, our toothpick test. We'll put it in the center of our cake. We'll pull it out, and there it comes out clean. And because it comes out clean, we know our cake is done. So we'll let this cool for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we will place our frosting on top of that. Alrighty, so our cake is pretty much cooled off. Taking our little frosting or drizzle out of the fridge, and we're going to pour this over the cake shortly, and then we'll put it back into the fridge so it can cool off and can be served a little later. It seems like the more it cools, the sweeter it becomes. Well, there we go. Our frosting is all spread throughout our cake, and now we will place it into our oven. Of course, before we do that, let's pan over to our sugar-free strawberry cheesecake that is also in our cookbook. And of course, we'll have a video for that a little bit later. Alrighty, let's put this back into the fridge. Alright, and we'll just keep it here for probably about 30 minutes to maybe, 30 minutes to an hour. It's early in the day, so it doesn't really matter. It'll be a nice dessert for later. And of course, for that recipe, this recipe, and for other low-carb recipes, you can find our book on Amazon.com, Smokey and Giraffe's Low-Carb Kitchen Recipes. Until later, sweetness is on us. Mwah.